in damage and causes them to take 25% increased damage for 30 seconds. Outside of that, all of the other buffs remain the same. Now that we've talked about profession buffs, let's talk a bit about the trash leading up to the first boss, starting off with the Dusk Watch guards. These guys have a frontal cone at the tank in Quelling Strike. This does not follow the tank, so they can avoid it as well, and they will want to because this will stun anyone hit. They also have the Cast Fortification. This is a 25% DR and haste magic buff, so you can interrupt this, or you can purge / spell steal this if you have a mage in your group, for example, for that nice buff. Duskwatch sentries are also all around this area. They will immediately throw torch to the first person that aggroes them, and this is a pretty nasty fire hit and dot, so you want to make sure that your tank is the person that aggroes these mobs. If someone else accidentally butt pulls one of these sentries, they are in for a very bad time. Immediately upon being aggroed, they are try and run to the nearest watch post, which are these pillars that you can interact with throughout this area towards the first boss, and once they get to them, they will try and cast Sound Alarm, which is interruptible and stoppable, and if it's successful, it will summon a Duskwatch reinforcement. These reinforcements just have one interruptible ability in Subdue, which is a random target magic stun for 8 seconds, so you will want to make sure you interrupt this. You can also dispel it as it is a magic effect. You will want to interact with these watch posts on your way to the first boss, because the first boss does have an ability that interacts with any of these watch posts that you do not deactivate. So make sure you go towards all of these and interact with them to disable them. Mana Saber Cats are also in this area, and they just have one spell in Mana Bang. This is a jump attack at a random ranged target that hits in a 5-yard radius around where they land and apply a magic dot as well, so make sure you are a little spread when engaging these guys. The Squatch Arcanists are caster mobs in this area, and they have 2 interruptible abilities. One is Nightfall Orb. This is a random target arcane hit that bounces to up to 3 nearby allies, and this hits pretty hard as well, so you want to make sure you interrupt this. It is not stoppable, unfortunately, so you have to commit a kick. They also have Seal Magic, again interruptible, and this is just a 10-yard AoE silence that you will want to run out of. Bound Energy are often alongside these Arcanists, and they just have Charged Blast. This ability is a big frontal line attack at the tank that does not follow them, so you can avoid it, of course, and also knock back anyone hit. This ability is stoppable though, so you will want to make sure you try and do this, or at the very least just to make sure it's not pointed towards the rest of your party, because this does chunk. The last smaller mob in this area are Mana Worms, and these guys just have wild detonation, so on death they'll leave a 5-yard swirly on the ground that you just want to make sure you're not standing in. In terms of bigger mobs in this area, there's the Guardian Construct, which I mentioned earlier on in the video. These guys have a couple important spells you'll want to interrupt. Charging Station is the first one, and this will do a 5% heal and 2% damage done increase to all allies within 20 yards of the Guardian Construct. So this doesn't really do anything if it's just the Guardian Construct alone, but if anything else is nearby, they'll get a ton of healing and some damage increased as well. So you want to make sure you kick this. They also have Suppress, which is a random target channel attack that is ticking damage and pacifies the player that it's targeting. This is a magic ability, so it can actually be dispelled off of them, but you also can just commit a kick to this as well. Finally, they have a tank frontal attack in Charge Smash. This puts a little 4-yard puddle on the tank here, and it does follow where the tank is, so be careful of that. Don't be stacked on top of your tank when you're fighting these guys. The other big mob in this area is the Arcane Manifestation, and these guys just have a single cast in Drain Magic, another interruptible one, and this is a 50-yard party hit that gives a 5% damage done increase to the manifestation if it goes off. This can be purged off of them as it is a magic buff, but ideally you just make sure you keep these guys kicked. Patrolling around the large room you get to here is the first boss, Patrol Captain Gerdo. He has a ton of dodgeable abilities for you to deal with. First is Resonant Slash, similar to the frontal from the guard mobs earlier in the dungeon, except this creates a cone both in front and behind the boss that you'll want to avoid. Street Sweepers also occasionally spawn, and this just shoots a line of arcane energy at a